Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. My name is Ines. I am a product marketing specialist at Unitfly, and I will be your host today. Today's webinar will be covering an ever-growing topic of AI. So we will talk about how to extend AI functionalities in M-Files using the Extension Kit Core add-on. Our first speaker today is Unitfly's CEO, Ivan Markovic, and he will talk about AI in M-Files and the functionalities that Extension Kit Core offers. After Ivan, our next speaker will be Unitfly's COO, Alan De Biagi, and he will demonstrate these functionalities to you. After the presentations, we will have a Q&A session. So feel free to leave any comments or ask questions during the presentations, and we will address them later on. And also, this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be sent to you in a follow-up email after the event. And with that, I think we are ready to begin. Let me invite Ivan to come to the stage. Ivan, can you please join us?
Good.
Hello and welcome.
Was the time on the stage, and I can now start with sharing my screen. So, okay, perfect. Hello once again. It's great to be here today. Finally, we are doing this webinar on the AI scenarios in the M-Files. At least internally, we've been discussing about this topic a lot, and today we would like to cover this topic of the AI in the M-Files, talking about from the extraction to generation in the M-Files, and as always, as with the extension kit, it is without coding. So we know why the AI topic is relevant today. So we know that the manual document processing still slows teams down. We are aware of that it causes a lot of errors and rework in the processes. And we know that AI helps, but oftentimes, and at least what we have to talk nowadays about the AI is how to fit this into existing systems, because if the AI stays isolated, there's not a lot of value of it for the businesses. So today we are going to see how we can turn the AI into the real workflows. Let me start with something very familiar, and we are going to address this topic or this use case in this webinar. And this is like topic, for example, of the invoices. So where an invoice arrives, for example, someone needs to open it, check the fields, copy data into the metadata, or then copy again in the ERP. Sometimes it's fast, but often it's not. And then comes issues like we have a missing field or a wrong amount, and someone wrote a wrong line item, and now we have to double check those information. And if we multiply that by the hundreds and thousands of the documents per month, it is a huge waste of time for the business. Now, AI nowadays can extract the data, and that's where we are with the technology. AI can extract the data. AI can also answer the questions. So if you ask the AI the questions, AI can provide you with the answer, get you the insights, provide you with the right information. But now we are still talking more about the features. But the real questions are how we want to trigger the AI, what happens after the AI does the processing, how does it connect to our existing workflows, and that's something that we would like to address nowadays, because it fits perfectly with what we do with the extension kits. Now, talking about the current landscape, and you are all familiar with the M-Files capabilities. We know that we have the INO, which is growing super fast and brings a lot of value to the M-Files as a product. We can ask the questions with the INO. We can extract the metadata. INO can understand the contents within the M-Files. different agents are being built. So we do see a lot of improvements with the INO and a lot of improvements with the AI overall within the M files. And what we want to bring in addition to that is the extension kit. And the extension kit actually is orchestration layer on top of the M files, not just when it comes to the AI scenarios, but also about the different scenarios and different advanced use cases within the M files ecosystem. So what the extension kit brings on top of the M files capabilities, it's all about the orchestration and integration. For those of you who are familiar with the extension kit, it is all about the triggers and the workflows. So we are really talking about how we can embed the AI and add additional functionalities and the additional automations on top of the M files. For you who are not yet familiar with the extension kit, I'll just have this one slide about why we have developed the extension kit for M files, and because we've been working on the extension kit for the last 10 years. Basically, extension kit was created to help partners and customers to deliver more advanced use cases, to have faster implementations, and then finally to have more sustainable solution through the configuration instead of custom development. So in the extension kits, and also is relevant what we are going to present today, everything is about building faster without having to write a code, because if you build something faster, then you can react on customer changes or requirement changes much faster. The whole point of this webinar and how we see it internally is we would like to show you more possibilities. And that's what the extension kit is about unlocking more possibilities, giving more functionalities on top of the M files, so you can then address the end user requirements with some more advanced features, to support more advanced use cases. And finally, what is very important is about the quality of the implementation, and that's what we care about when we develop the extension kit. Whatever we develop inside the extension kit, we want it to build. We build it to last, so it needs to reduce the complexity. It needs to be easier to maintain, troubleshoot, and the scale. So that's briefly about why we developed the extension kit. And now I will talk more about what extension kit adds on top of the M files when it comes to the AI. And I would say the important point here is flexibility. So with the extension kits, you're not locked into a single AI provider, but more it gives you an option to choose which AI and how you would like to integrate the AI into your M files workflows. So out of the box, what we have developed is integration with the Microsoft Foundry. We do work a lot with Microsoft Azure. That's why we developed the integration with the Microsoft Foundry. And Microsoft Foundry gives you access to more than 11,000 different AI models that you can cherry pick depending on really case that you have. But it does not stop there. We developed the extension kit in a way that it can be further extended to other AI providers. And based on the need, we may add other AI providers as well. You can also extend your M files implementation using the extension kit with some custom integrations, and you can also use already available HTTP integration module within the extension kit to connect to your own AI services. So I would also encourage you, if you do have a need for some kind of custom integration of the M files with your AI services that you're maybe building internally, or you have preferred vendor when it comes to the AI, and you would like to have this integrated in the M files, please do let us know about your use cases. So maybe to just sum it up, what you can do with the extension kit, and the whole logic of the extension kit is about triggers, actions, and then orchestration, is that you can use the extension kit to extract metadata automatically. You can trigger actions based on the rules and the conditions inside the workflows. You can also generate new documents with the AI. We're going to show this in today's demonstration. Based on the results you get from your AI services, you can route results into workflows, changing the workflows, changing states, etc. And what I already mentioned, you can choose which LLM model or AI service you would like to integrate with, which gives you a lot of flexibility and the options in the market of the LLMs and AI services that is growing very fast nowadays. And also what is very important to highlight, it is available for both self-hosted and for self-hosted mFALS implementations and mFALS cloud. Briefly, what we are going to show you today is we are going to talk about 3 different use cases. The one that is maybe the basic one, but gives you an option to choose which model you want to work with. It is about the invoices creation, manual invoices creation, and then you're using the IML classification for the metadata suggestions. Then we are going to talk about more advanced use cases when it comes to the AI. We are going to talk about the automatic import of the files into the mFALS, and where you first have to determine the right class, and then based on the class, you may want to decide in which workflow that specific document needs to go into, and then based on that, you want to do the metadata extraction. Here we are going to talk about the Azure Document Intelligence classification, about the Microsoft Foundry metadata extraction, and then finally, we are going to talk about, let's call it agentic case, where we are going to use our HTTP integration module to integrate with a custom agent. We are going to show you how you can use meeting notes, recording and the meeting notes templates to create a new document in the mFALS and store it in a way that suits your business case. So that was just for this just brief explanation of what we wanted to add on top of the already available functionalities inside the mFALS, and what we would like to show you and why we would like to talk about those use cases, why we find those use cases very relevant for nowadays state of the technology, but also where the business needs are. So I would like now to ask Alan DeBiagi to join us on the stage and to walk us through the demonstration, and then I suppose I will be back after the demonstration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. Hopefully you're hearing well. So as Ivan introduced, what I'm going to show you today is those 3 cases. I'll quickly share my screen. Okay. So here we are inside of the mFALS. So we'll start with a familiar and simple case. So we have a document. We would like to save it inside of the mFALS. So document will be automatically classified, and then based on the class, it will extract the data. So here in EML, we can use document intelligence. If needed, we can also add a Foundry here. So let's write. So this is pretty familiar case for you. So let's create a new document. So document was automatically classified, and then based on the class, all the metadata were extracted. So this is, as I said, familiar case, simple case, and that's something that you probably are already doing and using because mFALS also has something like that. The new case is for automatically creating, classifying, and creating documents. So here I have a few documents, and I have the import folder. So this case is when you need to automatically do extraction and classification and so on. So this is for, let's say, invoices or documents that are for invoices that are not e-invoices. So if you have services that have e-invoice, you can use HTTP module that's already connected, that we have already connected with certain e-invoice providers, and you can use XML processing module for extracting data, for example, from the XML. So in this scenario, I have this file source, and whatever comes to this file source, or maybe you will have something that is coming through the email automatically to the end files. So everything will be classified as unclassified. So it will be unclassified, but what we have configured is that when the object is created, we will do the classification. So what I will do now is I will add two documents. Let's add those two. So I have one invoice and I have one ID document. So I will put that inside of the folder. So now I have two files here. I will refresh it manually so that we don't have to wait 1 minute. So what the process will do now, it will create documents inside of the M files. Then it will send the documents to the classification. For the classification, we are using document intelligence services, but we can also use the Azure Foundry. For this scenario, we built a model based on our cases, and it's better to use this module because it's faster and it uses less tokens. That's something that when we are going through the architecture, it's something we can talk about. And then based on the class, we will set it to the specific workflow, and then we will do the document extraction. So document extraction is done with Foundry, and I will show you how it's configured. So we have webinar, we have information extraction. I have a few documents that are already here, but this is our invoice that is done now. So you can see that it's classified as the incoming invoice, and also all these fields are extracted. So I can show you the history where you can see. Let me show you like this. So you can see that document was created or imported inside of the M files. Automatically, it was classified as the incoming invoice. Then we have added the workflow here based on the class, and then it was sent for the document extraction to the Azure Foundry, and then all these fields were extracted automatically. Okay, so what I've showed you is how you can easily automatically extract the documents data, but also there is also one thing that we also did here. So we also extracted and created all these line items also with the Foundry. So this invoice have 3 line items, and we also created 3 line items in the background. So everything was done in the background. And also what we've done here is I've put some ID document. It was also classified as different kind of document, as an ID document. Let me show you here. So it was also received and automatically classified. Then it was put in the right workflow because it's different workflow than the incoming invoice because it's a different class of the document. Then it was sent to data extraction, and it extracted the reference number and personal identification number, and also that is issued by this government institution, Croatian government institution. Okay, let me just quickly show you how it's configured, and because it's really, really simple. So inside of the extension kit, now we have document AI module. we have three rules here. We have for extracting data with document intelligence. We are not using that inside of this use case, and classification. So let me show you how the invoice is extracted. So there are two AI services that we are currently supporting, but as Ivan mentioned, it's built that we can extend it for as many services that are there. So currently we are using Foundry and Azure Document Intelligence. So I've chosen the Foundry, then I've chosen that all the PDF are sent, and then we have Foundry action. So I said the extract because Foundry can also classify document. So, and then the model that we have provision is this one. It's pretty cheap, pretty cheap, fast, and it will do the things that has to be done. And then we've added some instruction that we need to JSON object that it returns on JSON object, what it need to do with the structure, because we would like to also extract the line items and so on. So we wrote it what we would like that this model returns to us. And then we were setting property. And for property, we did the same. We said, okay, this invoice field is description of the field. We said, okay, this is the invoice date, how the date we would like to, what is date in this document, how we would like it to, that is returned, and so on. So for every field, and then we map that to this property. And we've done it for all these fields that we would like to, for the fields that are extracted. And as a result, we got it all this extracted data. And as I mentioned, we also created line items, but this is something that is maybe more advanced. So as this model is returning, as a result, it's returning JSON for us, and we said, okay, all these line items are arrays and so on. So we also add a description how this field will be also extracted. So without coding, just writing what is here, you can easily extract all this data from the document. The same things we have done for the ID, for the personal documents. It's pretty simple, pretty same things. So we said this is personal identification document, and then we had a description for the name, surname, start date, issued by, and so on. Okay, so this is our second scenario, and for our third scenario, we will use the HTTP integration module because it is even mentioned. This is something that is pre-built, so you can easily use it, download it, use it, add a description. You will have your data extraction and so on. But maybe you are building your own agents, or you're using different agents, and for that you can just use the existing HTTP module for different kind of integration. So what I will do now, our scenario is I have few webinar recordings. So as this webinar is recorded, you can record it, and then let's put it in the M files. Okay, let's go to home, and I will create it here. Create anyway. This is meeting record. Okay, let's put it today. No, this one I already have. Put something that I don't have. Yeah, this one. Okay. Let's put some date here. So this is online. Okay. So what I have done is I have created a new document. So inside of the M files, now the HTTP module will send that document to our agent. So we have Azure app, container app in Azure that is some custom service that is calling the 11 Labs API because we think that this is one of the best services for the transcript, and then this API will return the transcription, and we will save this transcription here. And then we have our own service that behind that is the Foundry model that will do some kind of summary, and that summary we will save inside of the meeting note. So it will create a new document that is called meeting note, and it will put the summary there, and we will also add the metadata from this card to that document. So basically, we will add recording, we will get the transcript, and also we will get the summary of this meeting as a meeting note. So this will take at least a minute, but let me see. Those two are done. We will wait this one, but I can show you on something that is already transcripted. So you can see the transcription here from this. And also there is a connected document, which is a webinar recording as a meeting note that have all these summary here. So this is summary from this transcript. Okay, let's maybe wait for, I will just refresh this. Maybe we can wait for a, sorry. Let's wait for a second to see still, but as I mentioned, it's around a minute because it sends 6 megabytes, and then it's transcript, then it's sent to different service. But that's also something that is done in the background, so it's not something that has to be done immediately. That's the nature of it. Okay, so I don't think we have to wait that this is done. So we can go on and see, are there any questions?
Okay, thank you, Alan, and thank you, Ivan, for your presentations. I will now, we will go through the Q&A. Now, we have some questions already. I will read them all out loud one by one, and you answer. Okay, the first question, maybe we can clarify once again if we can extract lines from an invoice.
I think I click something that I shouldn't?
Yes, you clicked that you answered, but it's okay.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, yeah, we can extract line items from the invoice as being shown. Yeah.
Okay. The next question. Hello, is it possible to fully classify documents without any human validation?
Yeah, and that was done in the second case. So document was put inside of the folder, automatically was imported inside of the the M files, it was automatically classified, and then all the data were extracted automatically based on the class.
All right. The next question. Do you support content understanding of Azure Foundry?
So
Yep.
no, we are playing with that. Sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
We are playing with that, and probably this will be maybe the next service that will be connected.
Yep, I just wanted to cover that piece. So the content allow us to so basically we do have an option to integrate it with the HTTP integration as the REST API integration. So meaning that if you want to do some coding and handling the requests, then technically you can do this with the extension kit, but we may also expand the existing document AI module to more straightforward configuration for the content understanding for the Azure Foundry.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the next one. For the line items, do you use multi-line text and then parse to line items?
So the model was returning the expected format that we asked him that he returns that expected format, and then based on that format, we've created a line item. So it's not in the multi-text inside of the. This is not something that was inside of the invoice in metadata of the invoice. It was done by the model on the fly, let's say it like that.
Okay. The next question. Do you have experience with local LLMs, and do you support local LLMs?
So we had a few questions around that, and also with document intelligence and so on. So we've done a proof of concept, but we never use it in the production.
Okay.
But also with the HTTP module, if you have your own, if you build your own if you build your service that is hosted on your local environment and you can call it with the HTTP module, is the same. Either it's deployed locally or in the cloud for the M files HTTP module. This is the same. So if you have your own local models, you just need to create a service that is hosted.
All right. The next question. Can you show how you link extracted vendor names with the correct object in M files?
Extracted vendor names with the correct object inside of the M files. Yes, I can show you that. So let me quickly share the screen. So let me, where am I? Meeting records. No, we don't want that. Okay. So it's similar to, so in the extension kit, this support for value lists is really, really great. So you can choose, so vendor name. So am I doing this? Oh no, this is document intelligence, sorry. This is document intelligence, you want to Foundry, but it's the same logic. It's okay, let me show you. So for the vendor name, also as I mentioned, so I don't think this question is around this. It's probably around this. So we told him that this is object lookup because the vendor is lookup, and then also we set it search for the for the object name. You can also search it by ID or external ID or some kind of property. Maybe you have certain property on that object that is ID from different system that model will extract. So this is how it's connected. As I mentioned, all of this functionality are supported all over the extension kit, so it's pretty well covered.
Okay, great. The next question says, if a document is poorly recognized, how can we teach this document to the system so that next time it is recognized correctly?
So you can't. So for this type of integration that we are currently doing with the Foundry and with document intelligence. So for document intelligence, you will need to rebuild a model. It's something that you can really easily do. For the Foundry, we are opening a new, let's say, channel, let's say chat. So we are opening chat every time that we are executing the query. So that means that you don't have any kind of knowledge that was before. If you are building the agents, then agents can be taught or learned and so on. So currently, in this scenario that I've shown you, you can't. But if you have your own model, or in the future when we will add support for the agents, then you will be able to. It will learn from your data.
Yeah, if I can just add one topic. Going to service.
Sorry, Ivan, can you please
You're
just
breaking.
repeat what you just said?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to add one thought here. In this demonstration, one is Microsoft Foundry. What
It's still breaking.
Yeah.
Even it's breaking.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Give me
Okay.
Third time.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, let's try it this way. So we've been showing you two different services. One is Microsoft Azure Foundry. Another one is Azure Document Intelligence. What Alan was saying when it comes to building your own model and the way that you can do it easily, Azure has its own Document Intelligence Studio, which allows you to provide an example, train your machine learning model. So still, this is kind of for convenient for the end users. It's not that technically heavy work for building your own model. So if you would like to provide your own examples of the documents and then create your own machine learning models, there is a studio that allows you to do that. You don't need to have the data scientists, except if you would like to just go very, very deep into the classification and the machine learning algorithms. Otherwise, yes, you can provide examples, label them, classify, deploy your own machine learning model, and then it will be available for your usage with the extension kit.
Yeah, or if you don't have the service, we can do it for you.
Okay, great. Then we can move on to the next question. What Microsoft subscription is needed for Document AI?
It's a basic any Microsoft subscription which allows you to deploy Microsoft Foundry would be sufficient. Of course, there are some Microsoft Azure related recommendations and limitations when it comes to which models are available depending on the region where you want to host your Foundry resource. But you just to answer it shortly, any Microsoft subscription will be able to deploy in Microsoft Foundry resource.
Great. Next question. How much does the extension kit cost?
Extension kit is charged based on the number of the normalized users, as for every other mFiles add-on. Exact pricing can be obtained from our website. So if you go to the extensionkit.unitfly.com, you should be able to find the pricing guide with all the details. If you still have any question, feel free to, you can reach out directly to me. I'm not sure if we are sharing contact details anywhere here in the chat. If not, we can leave it here. So yeah, feel free to send me an email and we can discuss all the details. But as said, our pricing is publicly available and you can obtain it from the extensionkit.unitfly.com.
Yes, and we will provide the link for the pricing and the contact here in the chat a little bit later. Okay, the next question. If the document has multiple invoices in one PDF, can you split it to several documents and extract the fields for each invoice?
And extract for, so inside, so we've tested that with Mistral, and yes, you can do it. We had a proof of concept with Mistral for that scenario, and yeah, Mistral can separate document to different documents, create an object. Then we can, with extension, we can create objects, and then for each object we can extract the metadata. Yeah, we have proof of concept for that. So if somebody needs it, just let us know.
That is also how you can think about those use cases, and I really like that question. So what we technically do from the mFiles, we convert the documents from the unstructured content to the text. And then, as Alan said, every time we open a chat, you can imagine like you're sending the content of the files and you're pasting it into some chat. And then you can ask the chat, can you please split this content into multiple documents and then classify them. And if chat can then return that, you can also achieve that with the extension kit, because basically you would, maybe in the first request, you would send the whole content on the files and ask, okay, split the content based on some rules, and you provide the rules. Like if you find the invoice in the header of the file, then you know that this is of class invoice. And then if you find some other headers, then you know that you need to split the document on that specific page, and then the model can return the pages, like the pages where the content needs to be splitted. Then using the document processing with the extension kit, you can split the PDF files into multiple files, and then you repeat the same process as we have shown, like send file to send file for classification based on class, send to the whichever model for the document extraction. So yes, it can be done.
Okay. Then we have some interest in other cases for document creation. Can you present other document creation cases?
So for the Foundry, we had proof of concepts for the SOPs. We had, I think, proof of concept for test cases from the functional specification. I'm not sure what other cases we did have. I think those are at the moment.
If you have a use case, please feel free to reach out, and then we can work on that use case together, create some small pilots.
Okay, the link for the contact form is provided here in the chat, so you can check it out. The next question, to use all these AI features, do we need the enterprise license?
So if that question is referring to the mFiles Enterprise Edition, the answer is no. So the extension kit as an add-on for the mFiles is available for the customers using any mFiles subscription. Cloud, mFiles Cloud, and self-hosted as well.
Okay. The next one. Did you make better experience with document intelligence or content understanding, or just use a Foundry model as shown before for document creation? It's more a question about when to use which service according to your project experience.
And that's also based on what you need to do. So in these scenarios for the ML, we've used document intelligence for classification and for document extraction. When we were doing this automation, we have done the classification using document intelligence and extraction using the Foundry. So why we did the classification with document intelligence? Because it's quicker and it was cheaper. As mentioned, whenever you are using the Foundry, every query is every time you open different chat. So if you want to do the classification, then you will need to send example of the documents every time you are classifying. So that's why it's better to use the document intelligence, which is already pre-built model. It can be your own custom model based on your data or some other documents. But as I said, in future, I think we will support agents. So then I would say for when you will be using agents in the Foundry for the classification, then it's maybe better to use Foundry. But it's also based on your examples and so on.
All right, next question. Follow-up question to finding the correct object in a value list for extracted data. How do you solve the problem of a name spelled differently in an invoice than in the mFiles object?
So if it's spelled differently, it will try to search it without caps and sometimes without spaces, but that's all that we are covering. So if it's wrongly spelled, it will not be found. We also have the best match scenario. So if the best match is similar, we can also configure that. But if it's totally spelled poorly, then it will not be found.
All right, another question about the cost. Is the cost the nominal cost of extension kit? In other words, does it change the cost of extension kit as we know it?
So yes, the document AI module is not by default included in the standard extension kit subscription. It adds some portion on top of the existing extension kit subscription cost, but also it depends on if you would like to run the Foundry service within your own tenant, or you would like to run it from our side. But that's what determines the final cost. But to answer your question shortly, yes, it adds some fee on top of the existing extension kit price.
Okay. More questions. Do you deploy or connect always with Azure tenants of your customers and use models or document intelligence on their tenants individually, or do you host the models, etc., in your own Unitfly Azure tenant?
We can support you with both scenarios. So it really depends on the exact setup. I mean, we do work with the partners. We do with the partners and the end customers. So it really depends on what you have available, and if you would like to have like the complete solution that includes Azure cost as well, or you would like to have this separated. I mean, in this example and what I mentioned in the opening slides for this webinar, it's all about the flexibility. enterprise customers would prefer to have the Foundry resource deployed in their own Azure tenant, in their own Azure subscription, and that they can have full control on which LLMs, which models they want to deploy in that Foundry resource. On the other hand, some customers or partners may prefer to have a complete solution that just does the work. So we can support you with both.
Great. And the last question today, do you have any experience working with handwritten documents?
We had examples, and I think also when we were doing this proof of concept with Mistral, there were a lot of handwritten models. So basically, that depends on the model. So yes, we had scenarios like that, and Mistral did it pretty well. But that's also something that you can also play with your own on your own, and also we can play. But yeah.
Okay, and I believe we have reached the end of the questions and almost the end of our session today. So we have provided the links for the pricing guide in the chat. Also, the link for subscribing to our newsletters. You can also find it in the chat here. And before the end, I would like to highlight that Extension Kit Core is available for a free trial. You can find the link for a free trial here in the chat, and also you can always find it on our website. And if you have any questions or want to discuss your use cases, you can always contact us also through the contact form on the website and the link provided here. And I believe this is it. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and thank you, Ivan, and thank you, Alan, again for your presentations. Everybody have a lovely rest of the day, and until the next webinar, goodbye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.